The absurdities of life are abundantly clear in Christopher Durang's hilarious play with allusions to Anton Chekhov in Vanya and Sonia and Masha and Spike. It seems that Sonia and Vanya are stuck in their parents' craftsman-style house in Bucks County. The parents, both professors, decided to name their children after Chekhov characters. They have died, but their 50-something age children still linger with bills paid by their successful sister Masha, who has a movie career. When Masha shows up with her latest boy toy, Spike, the situation erupts with sibling rivalry. Masha wants to sell the house, but in the meantime has been invited to a costume party at a nearby neighbor's, living in presumably a house that belonged to the Algonquin wit Dorothy Parker. This allows a segue into her plan to wear Disney's Snow White costume. She expects her brother and adopted sister to dress up as two of the seven dwarfs. Nothing quite works out the way Masha envisions, especially when Sonia appears in a sparkling gown as the evil stepmother. With Durang's well-drawn characters and smart dialogue, the play moves briskly along, and you can't help but recall the cherry orchard, the seagull, and other Chekhov works in various scenes. Vanya and Sonia, etc., received a Tony Award on Broadway when it opened a couple of years ago, after previewing first at McCarter Theater in Princeton. Although this cast doesn't quite measure up to Sigourney Weaver, David Hyde Pierce, and Christy Nielsen, it still has plenty of spark. Casting is key, of course, and some of the actors fare better than others in this production. Mark Nelson does a terrific turn as Vanya, especially his monologue about changing times when he compares Twitter and tweets to the days of licking stamps, typewriters, and carbon paper. He reminisces about the old television shows like Ozzie and Harriet and The Ed Sullivan Show. Not always very good, but everybody was watching the same thing. Michelle Polk plays the adopted sister whose life, like Vanya's, is at a standstill, but she transforms herself with a sleek imitation of Maggie Smith, and suddenly she can see that her life isn't over at all, after all. Carolyn McCormick is the self-involved actress who can barely tolerate her dismal relatives. Juicing up the scene is the maid, Cassandra, played by Gina Daniels. She's good, but doesn't quite bring off the possibilities of a part that calls for voodoo witchcraft and weird prophecies. Jamie Ann Romero is Nina, a young neighbor who's visiting next door, who catches Spike's eye and is in awe of the famous actress. When Nina learns that Vanya has written a play, she offers to read it aloud to the assembled group. "Can I call you Uncle Vanya?" she asks. Philippe Bogan is Spike, constantly strutting and keeping in shape. Spike should be a hunk, exuding sex appeal, good looks, and not too bright. Bogan doesn't quite capture the sexiness that the part calls for. The play is directed by Don Stevenson, with an attractive set by David Corrins, clever costumes by Leon Dorkowski, and lighting by Stephen Terry. But this production doesn't have the pace and timing that would make it fly. Still, it's definitely an audience pleaser and makes for a fun evening. Performances of Vanya and Sonia and Masha and Spike continue at the Paper Mill Playhouse in Millburn through February 15th. For tickets, call 973-376-4343 or visit papermill.org.